Oh, hi, how are you,
Hi,
Dr.
Dr.
Terry? Good
Ponte.
to
How
see
are
you.
you? Thanks for talking with me.
I'm well. Yeah, of course, of course. This is great. I know you help so many teenagers, and it's just great to have you here to just shed some light on a super important topic, which is teen anxiety, which is a huge problem. And so maybe we'll start with you just
Okay, well,
introducing
thank you for having
yourself.
me today. And thanks for giving me the time to chat with you about my favorite topic, which is adolescence, and then adolescents in any kind of distress. And then, especially so, adolescents who suffer from anxiety. It's been my 20 plus years of practice that has led me to this zone of genius for myself. It wasn't a chosen choice, it happened. And I grow with my patients, and that's where their need is. And that's where I'm going to fulfill their niche. So I do work with a lot of adolescents who suffer from anxiety, and it's not necessarily generalized anxiety. It's anxiety about regular life, right? It doesn't have to be medicalized. But I work with them to incorporate tools into their lives to lessen that anxiety that's always going to be there for them. It's learning how to surf the waves. So all ears.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that you've embraced this. And I love that you've made it your sort of zone of genius. I can tell you that I have a few people who are willing to trade all their teens with anxiety for babies that don't talk back. So definitely thank you. Thank you for doing this. So just kind of to start this conversation started, I mean I want us to even go to the basics. I realize, and I've come across a lot of parents actually that don't know their teens are suffering from anxiety. They just don't realize it. And some of those symptoms could be very subtle. It could come as just sudden outbursts or resistance, and it could be underlying anxiety. So, can you just shed some light for a parent that's going to watch this? And this, if you're watching this live, if you say hi, we'll say hi back. If this is a replay, definitely please feel free to let us know what your thoughts are. But I wanted to get a sense of, for that parent who's wondering, does my teen have anxiety? What should I be looking out for? I would love it if you could shed some light on what they should be
Absolutely.
looking out
So
for.
any kind of a behavioral change you should notice, like your child being a little more withdrawn, declining social invitations, not wanting to go out and hang out with friends, more irritability, kind of things where in the past they were like, oh, no problem. And now all of a sudden it sends them through the roof. Um, and then changes with friendships. But here's the other thing. What if there's none of that behavioral stuff, but then there's suddenly your child who's never had a sick day in their life now is having frequent headaches, frequent
Mm,
abdominal pain, and you brought them to the pediatrician, and if the pediatrician hasn't caught on that these headaches and these abdominal pains or this inability to fall asleep may not actually be something physical, okay? I mean, they have the physical symptom, but that physical symptom is actually a manifestation of their emotional dysregulation, which is the big part of their anxiety, correct? It is, they have all of these emotions and it just has become overwhelming. And they have, they have really,
mm,
they've clenched and they've kind of drawn inward to themselves and they're kind of trapped. So they're in that constant stress mode of reactivity of you can have three different things. You can have fight, flight, or freeze. And so some kids, the fight part is the irritability and the always, having to have a confrontation with you. The flight is just running away, not wanting to engage. And then the freeze part is all of their organs, everything is responding to this constant stress and fear. So it is all clenched and everything's inflamed. This is your body's way of physically telling you that I'm not well. Hey, pay attention to me, right? You don't wake up with a headache, but you go through school and then by the end of the day, you have a headache. And sometimes you don't have headaches on the weekends, huh? Or that abdominal pain. Great weekend. Monday comes around and we have abdominal pain. And, weekend again. But sometimes it happens on the weekend also. So it's really just any change, subtle change, and you've noticed it over time. Now, once in a while, here and there, no problem, right? They have exams coming up. Yes, their head's going to hurt. Their stomach is going to hurt, right? They may experience some difficulty sleeping. But if you're noticing this as a constant for 2 weeks plus, there's something there.
That is so good. So what I'm hearing is really the symptoms of anxiety in teenagers pretty much transcends every kind of function. So their social function, their emotional function, their when it comes to physical symptoms, really. So when they're reporting these symptoms that are sort of out of the norm, I think this is a call for us as parents to lean in. Is this kind of like a one-off, or is there a pattern to this? And I love the fact that you mentioned sleep. I'm a lover of all things sleep, and I agree with you. I think that's usually one of the first things that we see that's really affected or impacted by anxiety. How sleep and anxiety are so intertwined. So I think this is so valuable. This is so helpful to even start. Like, this is just not my teen being a teen. Although, I feel like a lot of those what you've described also kind of lines up with them just being moody teenagers that didn't sleep well. So I do agree. It may seem like it's kind of one and the same thing, but it does take us sort of reflecting and paying attention to really see. So that's really, really helpful. One other thing I wanted to ask, so now we know, okay, there's a lot more going on than, oh, my teenager's just being a teenager. How do we get parents to then support their kids where, one, we're not minimizing those symptoms, but we're not making it take over the entire dynamics of the home, right? We're not walking around like we're on eggshells, yet we're getting them the support they need, because they do need help. So how do we partner with them in a way that's going to just really help them get through this?
You are on the same page with me about partnering with our children. That is the key, right? Partnership with your child. And so you have to validate it. Just say something like, hey, I see that you are not yourself. What's going on? Leave open-ended questions. Validate what you observe in them, and use very neutral words. Are you more anxious? Are you feeling sad? No. That's going to shut the door on them, right? So I just noticed that you seem a little off. What's going on? How can I help? Do you want my help? Okay. And maybe they don't want your help. Maybe they just need you to be there to listen and allow them to have that emotional brain dump, right? That they're holding on because they're feeling so fearful that everybody's judging them. I mean, that's the core of a lot of things is, we're reacting to our perception of people judging us. And we're judging ourselves, others are judging us, and the situation is all judgmental also. And that is probably not the true perception, but that's when a person is very overwhelmed with their emotions and what's going on with them. That's what they feel. That's the voice they hear, and they're amplified. So validate, empathize, partner with your child, and let them lead which path they'd like this to go. And it may take some time for them to open up to you. Don't get frustrated. Always remember, you're there to give them the tray of the snacks they would like, that they love, when they're ready for it, right? And so you can help model. Oh my, really, really important. As parents, sometimes the children are stressed because we're stressed. And what parent is not stressed in the modern life? So if we can model that we're also juggling many things, but we can acknowledge when we're feeling overwhelmed or like there's so much, how do you model, I have so many things, how do I prioritize? How do I still make some time for myself, small bits of time, and make time to engage with my family that replenishes me? So that's encouraging your child or your adolescent to seek some social support, and it's more likely going to be friends than family, right? Because that's the job of adolescence, is to separate from the family. But if they see that you're doing it and you're stressed, they will be able to model it, because their whole experience of growing up is this unconscious modeling of what we do as the parents, right? And I've seen this over and over in my own two adolescents. When I'm stressed, I feel like they are even more reactive to my stress, right? But when I can step back and be chill and cool, okay, they kind of they mirror it, right? So it's the modeling, the mirroring of what you see, what you feel, what environment you're living in. Really important. So let's be practical about it. What can you do? You might say, hey, when I'm really feeling overwhelmed, I just stop. And one of my favorite things is breathing. And, you already know how to breathe. And may offer the finger tracing breathing, where you're just tracing your fingers, going up on the inhale, and then pausing and exhaling on the down swing. And this is 5 breaths. Now, you'll say, some of your kids will say, no, I do not want to be doing breathing because this is so akin to like mindfulness and meditation. It's crazy. So, okay, don't. How about we put on some music? That's one of my favorite things to engage my adolescents, okay? I just get in there and say, hey, what's your favorite music? Let's get out there and turn it on and dance. I do it in my office. I do it on virtual meetings where when I sense that my adolescent patient is, oh my gosh, oh, it's so bad. Everything's bad. Nothing's going right. I'm like, hey, wait a second. There's got to be something here that we can, pick up our mood out and just shift you out of that negative mindset that you're in, right? It just takes something quick. And movement, body, physical movement is so key. And what even better way than to do it in a way that you like? So great music, and there's always great music. And everybody has something on Spotify or whatever their Pandora. I think Spotify is the way to go right now, according to my teenage children. So there's always a song. And get there and do it. And do it with your teenager. My gosh. Or if you embarrass them and they're laughing at you dancing, even better. They're out of their head, right? They've socially engaged, they're physically moving, they're laughing, the endorphins are flowing. They have come out of fight, flight, or freeze mode. They are now in the, I can do this. You've given them that shift of mindset. So really important. And then what else can we do? Oh, if let's say their anxiety is almost in the form of a panic attack, okay, put their face in ice. Get a bag of ice. This is what we did with the babies, right? Whose heart rates were really high in the intensive care unit. We smushed their face in ice and then it swung them into a normal heart rate afterwards. You can do that for anxiety as well. It's that rapid, quick change in physical temperature that shifts you out of the fight or flight mode and brings you back into a calmer parasympathetic mode of ease. I really like that. Ice your face, soak your hand in, ice cold water, or even put your face under the faucet and run water. And I've done this for some of my patients in the office who just the thought of, there's going to be a needle, that is going to just drive them, out of their minds. And we've done breathing in the past. I've done guided imagery with them to kind of calm them. Then I'm like, okay, let's just do something really radically different. Get a bag of ice from the freezer. We put it on their face. They've calmed. And then you can do what you need to do. But again, it's anything that can just snap you out of it is what so that's for the immediate. Over time, you want to help them learn more about self-awareness, self-regulation, but that comes later. We need some tactics where you can sell your adolescent that I know how to help you, like right now, with a snap of your finger. And how are you going to do that? You have to be constant, have a couple of tools in your back pocket, because this is going to happen every day of your life over different things. And the waves sometimes are bigger than others. So we're going to surf them. We'll surf them together, and soon you'll be a better surfer than me.
That's beautiful. I love this. I love is the fact that you talked about modeling. I think that's really important because it lets us connect with them in a way that's just more realistic. So when I'm feeling like I'm adopting this as well, like when I start to feel overwhelmed, I name it in front of them. And there have been times when I've said, you know what? I think I need a moment to just pause and breathe. And they're looking at me weird, but I think it helps us connect really nicely with them. Say, oh, okay, if mom goes through this, then I guess this is something that I would experience. And so then it helps us really connect. And I love the pause, to breathe, music or dance, which I love. It's just be goofy, and getting them out of it. And then, of course, if they're having a moment where they're almost in a panic attack, really looking for those drastic ways to just kind of snap them out of it. That's incredible. Wow, the work you do is phenomenal. So just tell us a little bit about just the programs. I know that there are things coming down the pike with your work and how you do serve this community. Because again, these are just, I can't even imagine. These practical strategies will definitely get teens and their parents going. But then if people say, listen, I've tried it, or, I don't have time, or whatever it is. So help us,
So I have
Dr.
two
Terry.
programs coming up. If you're the parent of an anxious adolescent, I have a free masterclass going this coming Sunday, October 2nd at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. And the information is on my webpage. It's www.resilientmd, all in one word, resilientmd.org. But the program that so that's for the parents to kind of see, well, how can I help my adolescent? So a little bit more of these little quick fixes that we've conversed about today. But the program that I'm really excited about is my 6-week coming program. It's really what I've learned in my 20 plus years of working with adolescents who suffer emotional dysregulation, because that's really what it is. And so it can be anxiety, or it can be in the form of depression, whatever. But it's learning the awareness of where it comes from in our body and really having the understanding of it, and then figuring out, oh, I have the self-awareness, I can get self-regulated about it, and I can do something about it. I can master my anxiety. Now, if you have anxiety, there's nothing wrong with it per se. It is really important when you touch a hot stove that your hand just jerks away. But see, your body was smart enough to know it was hot, it moved away, and then you went back into a normal rhythm of, okay, I'm not going to die, I haven't burnt my hand. But if you are under constant stress and chronic stress and you have anxiety, you're always as if there is your hand is on the stove, even after you remove your hand from the hot stove. So understanding how it figures out in your brain, and really it's about self-awareness, and then learning skills that you do every day to master your mind. So it is a mindset shift. It's a transformation. And I use to the advantage that they live in peer groups as adolescents. So providing that peer group that is learning with you and practicing with you. So it is not I'm going to teach you how to do X, Y, or Z. It's, okay, this is how you work. How does it work for you? What can you do? How do I get you to create this new habit loop for your brain when you encounter these triggers that set off your anxiety? You can, stop it right there, rather than going into the action that really starts your spiral. And as we all know, it takes how many weeks? It takes 21 days to form a new habit. And I'm going to give us a little extra time. We're going to do this over 6 weeks' time, 1 hour every Tuesday night, start at 7 o'clock, starting on October 11th. And again, thank you for posting my website. You can find information about this immersive program, which is really a hands-on program. This is not therapy. This is action-oriented. You know that you have anxiety. Your child knows that he or she has anxiety, and they're ready, okay? This is for someone who's ready to just change it for themselves. So they have to have gone to the next step. They've acknowledged that they have this and it's affecting their lives, and they have some inner motivation to want to move forward and change this trajectory and transform and build more self-confidence, resilience, because you know that your child has it in them to thrive, but they are so caught up in all of the emotions, and they're scrambled, right? And they're clenched. And what I want to help them is undo the clench and show kind of a smoother path forward. This is the path through the mountain rather than, circular around the mountain to get to the end point. And so it's learning, but it's compressed learning, and it's an active learning. Not homework, not terrible.
That's
but remember,
awesome.
Your child has to be ready to do some work and be committed to it. Like, if this is something you're going to say, I found this thing this doctor's doing, and wouldn't it be great for you? The child's going to be like, no, not really. Okay. So if your child is bringing this up and you tried lots of things, you put it out there. Hey, let's do something new. It's an hour a week, and you're virtual. So you're not face to face with other adolescents that you do not know, and you have to share a little bit of yourself. Yeah, but it's not therapy where you have to pour out your soul. No, this is so we can learn from each other. Like, oh yeah, that really freaks me out, and this is how I normally react. And then, but I did that thing that we've been working on this whole last week, and it really helped. And you see, so you get inspiration and motivation from your peer group. And then there will be future, what I plan is for in the future to have groups that can meet after the sessions. So I'm very excited. This program starts on October 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and it runs for 6 weeks. And it is also available on my webpage, resilientmd.org.
Awesome. This is so good. This is so exciting. And I love just how, that can help teens sort of normalize their feelings. Like, I'm not alone. So I think this is brilliant. And I thank you so, so much for doing this. So if you're out there and you have a teenager who is, struggling with anxiety, this is definitely something to check out on resilientmd.org, which I've posted. So that is great. So just in terms of rounding up, thank you so much for, hopping on here and telling us about this work you're doing, and also giving us some practical strategies to even start with. What are just some parting words you have for
your
us?
Adolescence years. They will get through it. It's in the moment, in the heat of the moment. It sometimes feels very heavy, but after all these years of working, I have found that what gets adolescents through adolescence is love and support. And I know that as parents, that's what we have for our children. So love them, support them, let them find their way, and just be there at the border and the perimeter to help guide them. But don't impose yourself on them, okay? This is their way of moving forward and defining who they are. So be supportive in that. Show your love. And honestly, a lot of time that love comes in silence. Okay. I've launched one kid. I have one child in college, and and so far so good. So I think that it's totally doable, and even in the hardest of times, just know there's so many other parents out there going through the same as you are, and they've made it, and their kids thrive afterwards. Okay, so patience is patience. And patience, hope, faith. Okay, those are my little words of wisdom there. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Oh, beautiful. Oh no, my pleasure. Thank you so much. This is good. This is so good. Thank you again. And you heard her, people. Patience and enjoying this. So sometimes support looks like silence. I love it. So I hope you have a great weekend, and really thank you guys for hanging out with us, and definitely check out resilientmd.org for all the amazing work that Dr. Terry is doing.
Thank you, Dr. Fontaine.
All righty.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. Bye-bye.